Good evening. Thank you for joining us for another virtual town hall tonight. Today is February 10th, Wednesday, February 10th. All right, we've got a couple updates on the numbers. Has been our tradition to provide you updates with the numbers at the state level, at the county level, and share information on some of the trends or challenges we may be experiencing around COVID. Obviously, the whole thing is a challenge, but there are particular things that are time sensitive and barriers that we're encountering, such as the low number of vaccines that are available to us on a weekly basis, and that has certainly created a challenge for many of our residents who are very eager to get the vaccine, but there just isn't enough for all the priority groups. But before I get into that, I want to talk about the numbers. Our cases, total reported cases, as of today, we are at 928,631 cases. Just over the last 24 hours, 3,281 cases were reported, which is lower than the 21-day average of 4,105. So we've seen that steady decline of the 21-day average. So that's very positive outlook. The numbers are getting better, still more than what we would like to see. It's more than double what we saw in the early part of the year, particularly in the summer when we expected to have the spike. But things are getting better. The number of deaths, that's also down from the 21-day average. Unfortunately, the hospitalizations saw a spike from the 21-day average. Right now, in the last 24 hours, there were 227 hospitalizations compared to the 21-day average of 194. So that's for the state and the county. We are at 13,085 cases. Now, those are the numbers. I want to remind you that the Yellow Springs number are no longer being reported as, at least to us, there are just so many cases that the health department has had challenges keeping up with all the numbers and the notifications required with the cases in Yellow Springs. Want to talk about vaccines? Do we have the graphic up for the vaccines? All right, excellent. 85-year-old and older are eligible for the vaccine. This graphic up on your screen there, that's the information on how to register. The 65 years older became available on the 8th, and the schools become available on the 15th. There are many schools that have already received their vaccine. So while the timeline was indicated at the 15th, I'm happy to see that many school teachers, school staff are already receiving their vaccines. So that's a good thing to report there. Overall, on the vaccine, we are seeing a 9.5% of the population has received at least one shot of the vaccine. However, only 3% are fully vaccinated. So there's still a lot more work for us to do. 3% of our population, that's a very low number. We are 11 million in the state, so we have a long ways to go. And given the distribution and the amount of vaccines that are available, I was just on a call yesterday with the leadership team here in the village, and we're talking about projections, and we're a long ways from everyone who wants a vaccine being able to access the vaccine. So I ask for your patience. Continue to do what you're doing. Don't let your guard down. So keep practicing the physical distancing and all the protective measures that you've been doing. We have to stay the course, be patient until we can get a vaccine into everyone that wants a vaccine has one. And I say, everyone that wants a vaccine because let's be real, there's some people that are stuck in their worldview and they're not going to take the vaccine even if you pay them to. And that's just the unfortunate reality in which we live in, that we all don't share the same values and share some of the same facts. So I also ask for your patience in dealing with some of those individuals. That's it for my updates. Now I'll pass the floor to Chief Colin Ullman. Chief, thank you for joining us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me at this party that we call Joswe's Party Night. Not a whole lot from my world other than if you haven't been outside, it is snowing and the roads are very slick. Our village, township, and ODOT folks are doing a great job trying to keep the roads clear, but don't go out if you don't have to. And yes, this means people in Yellow Springs. I know we live in a bubble and nothing affects us. The roads are crappy everywhere. So just stay home, people. You don't need to go out. The snows are stopping. The wolves are out. Just stay home. Don't go out. Josue mentioned the vaccine, and I know a lot of people are frustrated with the pace. Well, you know who you can blame for that, and it's not Josue. Ohio receives about 140,000 doses of vaccines from between Moderna and Pfizer every week. There are 2.2 million Ohioans in phase 1B, where we are right now. So I'd ask you to do the math because if I did it, it's going to take a really long time and it probably will not be correct. But it's going to be a while, like he said. And then we've got 1C. And then we get into the phase 2s and all that kind of stuff. So this is, and I think Josue said this from day one back on March, well, our first virtual town hall back in, I guess it was March of last year. But this is going to be, this is an ultra marathon at this point. It's not a 5K, it's not a 10K. So it's going to take a while. So we need to continue all these things that apparently libertarians think are destroying our nation. So wear your masks. Make sure it's a well-fitted mask. The bandana thing, okay, it's cute if you want to go rob a bank. But when the bandana's up here and it's flopping down here, it's not doing anything to help you. So wear an appropriate fitted, well-fitting mask. Maintain your social distancing. You still have to do it. We know how tough that is in Yellow Springs, where we're all taken with this need to hug each other on a regular basis. Not yet. Keep washing and sanitizing your hands. There's sanitizer everywhere. I think every aisle in Kroger has bottles of hand sanitizer for you to buy now for as cheap as $1, 89 cents actually. So sanitize. Just keep it up, people. I tell you, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's a long tunnel, but it's coming. It's coming. So in the meantime, be patient. Register for your shots when it's your turn. Definitely show up. The beautiful thing, the pharmacies are now able to give the shots to people in 1B, so that's a nice thing. So I think it's CVS, Meyer, I know, is doing it, and Walgreens Health. In addition to the county public health agency. So please, register, get your shot when it's your turn, get your vaccine. The J&J one hopefully is going to be out within a month, which will definitely help the supply. If you're riding with Biden, he's going to get more shots out there. So hopefully that's coming down the pipe as well. I mentioned this yesterday in a meeting, and I had a friend of mine who was all upset because, Israel's vaccinated so many more people than we have. There's like 7 million Israelis, and it's the size of Delaware. That probably has something to do with it. So remember, there's 300 plus million of us here in this country. It's going to take a while to get everybody, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Urge your friends to be ready and get their shots and keep doing what you've been doing. And we'll make it through this together slowly, but we'll get there. On the positive side, as Josue said, our numbers in Ohio are trending in the correct direction. They're still high, but the longer these trend this way, the more likely it is the governor is going to start lifting little bits of those curfew things, and then maybe eventually other parts of our life will return to a semi-normal. So we'll get there, people. So that's about it from me, my secret island headquarters. North of Yellow Springs. Nothing too exciting, actually. I'm nowhere fun tonight. Sorry. I just walked in from work. So back to you, Josue.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Appreciate all you do. I know you've had a busy day today. So thank you for being able to join us tonight. Also joining us tonight is Sergeant Watson. Sergeant Watson, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I don't really have anything to add except for don't travel, stay home. The roads are horrible. They're horrible for us to get to as well. So if it's a dire emergency, go ahead. Otherwise, it can probably wait until tomorrow.
Mhm. Thank you for reminding us of the bad weather conditions. It's bad out there, and we need your help. We need your help. I've gotten complaints that there are some sidewalks that are not done, and it's important that we all do our part. So if you got a sidewalk and you're able to, please get out there and shovel. If you're not, then seek the help of another neighbor. I've seen some kids around the neighborhood with carrying their shovels, helping folks out. So several folks out there doing it for free or for a small contribution. So, but it's important that we clear the sidewalks so that those that are out and about, getting to the store or doing things that they need to be outside doing, that we have the safest condition as possible, all things considered. So please clear those sidewalks. All right, Mayor Pam, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes, as always, Josue, it is my pleasure, and I'm very happy to be here. Yesterday when I was thinking about my presentation for tonight's town hall, I had one of those, what we'd call sort of synergistic moments. The latest issue of The New Yorker had shown up in my inbox, and I noticed it contained an article by one of the COVID heroes that I discovered over the last year, and that would be Dr. Atul Gawande. Dr. Gawande. I had read and I had been very moved by his New York Times bestseller, which is entitled Being Mortal, Medicine and What Matters in the End. In addition to being a surgeon at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, he's a staff writer for The New Yorker. Now, in this issue of The New Yorker, he'd written an article entitled The Worst Hit County in the Worst Hit State in the Worst Hit Country, which I think is a great title if you say it slowly. Much to my surprise, he was on Judy Woodruff's nightly PBS News last night, so I knew this was a sign that I wanted to share this article with you. In it, he tells the story of Minot, North Dakota, where residents had a fierce debate throughout the spring, summer, and into the fall over wearing masks. Now, if you remember, North Dakota had few COVID cases early on, and so the emphasis in this rural city of about 47,000 people was getting back to normal as quickly as possible. But as with many other cities that escaped the virus early, the tables began to turn in the fall, and the population was divided into those who had increasing concerns over the months last year regarding jobs and school reopening and returning to normal. But ultimately, mask wearing was mandated, and it reached 89% across the state. Now, I thought about Minot yesterday after reading that article, and I thought about Yellow Springs. And I thought about the village's early proactive stance on mask wearing. I thought about Brian Hausch's tables he had out during summer weekends where we were providing free masks courtesy of the Yellow Springs Community Foundation to villagers and to tourists. I thought about the resolution that the council passed on June 15th, 2020 to wear masks, and ultimately the village ordinance, which required face coverings, mandated face coverings, passed unanimously by Village Council on July 8th. We were very fortunate to be ahead of the game, which held off our infection rate here in the village for a long time. Now, I recommend Dr. Gwande's article to those of you who might be interested in a case study of another community struggling with many of the same issues as our Yellow Springs Village Council. And while my Watts Council meetings were far, far more contentious than ours, it was Dr. Gwande's comments that summarized so much of what we're hearing on the national news lately. And I believe it dovetails with some of the comments that Colin, Josue, and Sergeant Watson said earlier in this broadcast. Dr. Gwande concluded, the citizens of Mayotte, as with many cities, are never going to get consensus, but we can at least hear each other. We can at least listen to each other and pay attention to the pain of others. Everyone is exhausted. In the end, he concludes, and I like this line, this is my favorite line, our democracy may be frayed, but it is not broken. Now, here's my takeaway for tonight, especially as I was also listening to some of the impeachment proceedings today going on in the media. Gwande says, first of all, I want you to, if you're interested in this sort of an article, take a look at Dr. Gwande's article. You may find it of interest. Give him a listen. He's been on a lot of media lately. And last of all, and most importantly to me, be very thankful that we live in Yellow Springs. Okay, thank you. Josue, I've said what I want to say, shared what I want to share, so back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for that reminder to be thankful that we are in Yellow Springs, because no, we have our challenges and we don't all have it together. But I like this quote that Brian said, together we have it all. And I feel blessed to be living here in Yellow Springs and working with a great team that I work with, my colleagues, with my peers, not in other parts of the county, and our community leaders and our community residents. So thank you. All right, I've got a question come in from Kate Hamilton. I guess a comment to remind Greene County residents that you can go to any pharmacy. Yes, you can go to any place in a county that has the vaccine. You gotta get online, sign up, make an appointment. Different pharmacies have their different tools. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to show you what's on the map, the resources that are in the county. So I'm going to pull that up. Okay, I think I have it up. All right, this is site sponsored by the Ohio Department of Health. This is their website. So this is the county map of where you can get a vaccine. So here are the locations. These are all the vaccine providers. There's 9 of them in the county, and that includes the Greene County Public Health Department. And these are their websites where you can sign up to get your appointment. You may also call them. There are their phone numbers. And what else can I say about this is be patient. There are folks that the timing, you have to have the timing right. These different providers have appointment slots becoming available on at different times. So you just got to check periodically when those appointments become online. I read on a post from one of my friends in town that he was eager to get his appointment, and folks just texted him and say, go to the CVS app or go to the pharmacy app and sign up. And sure enough, they went on and were able to get their appointment. So anyway, these are all the providers. This is the map where they're located. We're right here in Yellow Springs. So the Kroger is the closest to us. That's the one on Dayton Yellow Springs Road, and Walgreens Pharmacy. These would be the closest, but there's also the site in Xenia, the Kroger Pharmacy, the Greene County Public Health, another Kroger Pharmacy in Beaver Creek, 2 sites near Bellbrook, the Discount Drug Mart, and the Walgreens. And there's one in Jamestown, the Kettering Health Vaccine Clinic. So those are all the sites. Philip, any more questions? Okay. All All right, we're going to give it a couple seconds to see if any other questions come in.
Josue, if I may, to Kate's point, I went to Greene County Public Health today out on the location where they're giving the vaccines on Indian Ripple Road. I'm very proud to say, got number one right here. I wanted to tell the folks that I signed up through Greene County Public Health back when we were first able to do so. And I waited and waited and waited. And I was sitting, actually, I remember this because the Super Bowl was on. And all of a sudden, my phone rang and my text pinged. And I had ultimately 2 texts, 2 phone calls, and 2 emails from Greene County Public Health telling about one of the vaccination clinics that they had today at the Indian Ripple location that was on your screen. They said, as with most places, if you pre-registered with your medical information, you could walk right in and get a shot. Well, skeptical me, sure, I say. But I pre-registered, and sure enough, I had a reminder text and a reminder phone call. Today's Wednesday, yesterday on Tuesday. And I went to that location, unbelievably organized, as helpful as they could be. Arrows pointing the way, people there to greet you and guide you. You've already turned in your information. Jillian Bothwell told me because she welcomed me there. She's one of the workers, our own Jillian. And they sent me in, gave me a table assignment, and honestly, it was 5 minutes or less, and I was done. They have you sit there for 15 minutes to make sure there's no immediate adverse reaction. And then I was on my way. I saw several other folks there from Yellow Springs, and we were all very happy to be there and get that first shot out of the way. They give you a card with the date that you can get your next shot. And I wanted to share with the viewers that I was extremely impressed with the organization. That's it.
Thank you, Mayor Pam. Thank you for sharing your experience because, it gives something for people to look forward to, and also it helps address any concerns there may be of how disorganized it could be. I know it's been this whole response, COVID at the national level has, it could have gone better. We here at the local level, I think that we've done a great job, and, hindsight is always 20/20, and there's certainly things that we could have done better. But we as a community have done well. So. All right, Philip, any more questions? Okay, well, there are no other questions. So with that, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Please be patient, hang in there. It feels like an ultra marathon at this point, and bear with us. Let's stick together. Together, we'll get through this. Thank you.